Indeed. Yes, we do love Jay-How.
Oh, we love you, buddy.
He's not just a walking tall joke. we do see SoA taking us to Cursed Hollow.
Cursed Hollow indeed, and that is a good map. Chosen by SoA as well. That's definitely a solid battleground to choose, although both teams kind of seem to slack. But we cannot forget, guys, that statistics here also implement all the results from the last seasons. So a team like SoA, for instance, they had a terrible Season 1. They were one of the bottom tier teams, only winning one series against, you know, their straight up rivals KISS, who were even worse than them. But coming back in Season 2 and or in Phase 2, and now of course in the fall season, they all stepped up so much. So slowly but surely those statistics are going to revert.
Yes, they are. And we'll see how quickly they can revert as we move into the draft. And it is going to be KT with the first ban. It's going to be Malthael. That's fair.
That is very fair. I mean, Genji could be a thing now if SoA doesn't ban it. So could Garrosh. Well, never lucky. But the Garrosh, come on, KT.
No Garrosh. There's a chance.
Ah, they
That's
go for the
Haka.
Haka again.
There's still a chance. Still a chance.
Still a chance, yep. The thing is, are Chinese teams brave enough to embrace something new, which is something they used to do all the time in Season 1, Phase 2? They just need to get back on their track again. They need to, you know, it almost seems to me that some teams forgot about where they come from. And this sounds a little bit dramatic, doesn't it? But
yeah. Remember your heritage.
Started from the bottom, now we're here. But I just want to see some innovation, don't you, Tetcher?
Innovation, flexibility. It's always just cool to see new heroes. For now,
yeah,
we are seeing Ariel and Valor. Very standard to begin with.
Just bring back the Toad Zevos, bring back the Fury variant, and all the crazy stuff that we saw in Phase 1.
Most of that stuff won when it was picked. That's the thing.
Yeah, all the teams won whenever they surprised their opponents. Even, I want to go back to SBT yesterday. The Cho'Gall, I mean, it's not really something that no one has ever seen before, but it's still something that is not your daily, you know, routine when playing as an HGC Pro, and it worked so well for SBT. I mean, of course, SBT has a little bit, let's say, better player material. They have better individual skills and mechanics, so they can afford to maybe get away with those strategies, but I don't think SoA is in no position to never do it.
I would agree. There is always the possibility of them trying to do it at some point. It's just a question of waiting for it.
Yeah. Arthas ban kind of makes sense, kind of shows as well that SoA might be going for the likes of Illidan. I mean, if you ban an Arthas, it's always kind of a statement. Of course, you could also mind game your opponents into tricking them that you could be doing something like that, but let's see.
There is the Arthas band. What are we going to see from KT? Are we going to see Garrosh banned? Will he actually make it through?
I mean, Garrosh must have had some incredible success in, you know, exercise matches and scrims, because I cannot explain why so many Chinese teams would be afraid of him otherwise.
I'm trying to work out what would cause him to be banned. Nice target ban, by the way, remembering the olden days of Uncle G. I'm trying to work out what could possibly force him to be target banned on Sky and not here. I can't think of any reason why, other than the boss pit, but there's two of them here. There's more bosses.
Yeah, very true. There's actually more choke points as well for him to just basically block the way and never fall thanks to all of his armor. How was European Open Division concerning Garrosh yesterday? Did they pick him a lot, and how was he played?
We didn't see him picked once. He was banned basically every game.
That's so strange, because he's not, you know, undisputed. There are a lot of players who basically see him as a lesser Stitches. And speaking of Stitches, where has he been?
Very true. Stitches has just completely disappeared. With Malthael banned in a lot of cases, he's just not been here. That's a brilliant question.
Yeah, and I mean, Cursed Hollow is a fantastic map for Stitches to shine on. Similar to Towers of Doom, you can normally very easily predict where the enemies are going to be at, especially when fighting around tributes or fighting near bosses. Like, one lucky punch, one good hook is all it needs to maybe even turn the tides and win the game. So, and there are a lot of good Warriors players in China too, like Wang. Then on the side of KT, we have Butcher, who was quite respectable Stitches.
Very true. Well, let's see what they do end up going with. We have a Nubrak as the at least first tank for SoA. They could still go over another one. KT, they still need their main tank.
They still do. Stitches is still just a LAN hero, is someone what someone in chat says, but we're playing in a LAN, so
last season. Very true.
That's the cool thing about HGC China. It is all played offline in a nice studio, so all the more reason for those guys to pick him.
It is. So come on, KT. Down the last 10 seconds. They need more damage and a second tank. I would love Garrosh or Stitches as the second tank. Valor and Ariel both very vulnerable to that.
Ooh.
Abathur and
Muradin.
I
like that.
Okay, I'm down.
Wait, what? That's good. 4.5 melees. With Arthas out of the way, that was so smart.
Indeed. I'm down with it. It's a good idea. And the other counter to that might have been Muradin with the Thunderclaps.
Yeah.
And now they've got him too. So which tank do you take from for SoA to try and deal with this? A second tank or a second support? Second damage dealer, sorry.
And Malthael is also out of the way, so all the heroes, or most of the heroes, that would have gained so much value against this many melees. This was so well drafted by KT, I feel. I think their combo is very, very scary. Given the fact that Greymane copies are really powerful as well. They go for the Illidan after all. Into a Muradin, into an Uther. That is quite bold.
It's cool. He can solo bosses, so that's a potential. So I want to just quickly bring your mind back to ESL Premier League back in the day for America, where there was a 5-man melee comp, and to counter it, can you remember what was picked?
Oof. So it was a long time ago. So obviously
it was in beta.
Must have been one of the older heroes. Kerrigan?
No.
Who?
To counter a 5 melee.
To counter a 5 melee. KT!
No. But KT is an excellent choice. That would have been very acceptable in my opinion. Yep. What they picked was Gazlo.
Oh my goodness.
They have to run into the turret.
Did it work?
And it won. It wrecked. It destroyed. So, yeah, bit of a reminder there. There was the slight possibility there was a precedent, but this is beta level precedent.
Yeah. But you bring up a very good point here to talk about. When you go for such a melee-heavy comp, your execution and your playstyle needs to be on fleek. If it's not, there are so many heroes available that can counter you really, really hard. And I think SoA did a pretty okay job at drafting a composition that is well-equipped. The Anubarak, the Illidan, if they can shut him down with the Muradin, for example, I think Illidan is just never going to fall.
That is an excellent point. Let's see if they are able to do so as we load into game number 2. Will SoA give us our first 2-0, or can KT continue the 1-1 streak? Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Cursed Hollow. And spawning on the left-hand side, it is start over again with Faye on Illidan, Uncle G on Ariel, TY on Tassadar, Spark BZ on Anubarak, and Molly on Valor.
In the reds, it is their opponents from KT, currently down 0-0. We have T-Die on the Greymane, Neptune on Dehaka, Ginshua on Uther, Seeing on the Abathur, and Butcher playing the Muradin. So Seeing, once again, normally their main ranged assassin player, going for that specialist role, going for the Abathur. Quite interesting.
Cool to see. I like it. I'm down.
Yeah.
Let's see if it works out in their favor, though, as the game begins. And Neptune moving up to top lane, and he will be running into a Illidan, a Anubarak, and a Tassadar, but most of them are revealed thanks to traps.
Yeah, really well done, and that is of course the power of Abathur. Not only is he good in those team fights when he hats someone and boosts their combat performance even more, but when it comes to slowing down rotations, when it comes to scouting, providing vision, he is a very, very useful hero to have on the battlefield, so let's see how much value they can get from him. So on Cursed Hollow, Abathur traditionally struggles a little bit in the early game, so for the first 1 or 2 tributes, KT needs to play specifically carefully, but as soon as level 10 has come, it is their time to shine. The Greymane copy, even a copy on the likes of Murden or Uther, can be very deadly, and we have seen great Abathur players who basically adjust their copy target depending on the situation you find it. I think yesterday, was it in the open division, we saw a double Rhaegar every now and then.
Yes, it was, and it was pretty spectacular. However, Abathur, despite his adjustment on copy targets and his potential, can't defend lanes very well, as some bot lanes are getting wrecked, and top lane is getting wrecked, because Tassadar Illidan, incredibly effective, Ariel Valor, also incredibly effective, and with no bodies to defend against them, what are you going to do?
Yeah. And no offense, I mean, it's nice that KT tries to destroy the middle lane, but trading 1 lane for 2, losing healing fountains even and towers early on, which is being reflected in the overall XP count as well, is not a valuable trade. And that has been one of the major weaknesses of China as a region in a whole. They cannot seem to make, you know, really valuable decisions sometimes. You don't want to trade 1 for 2. You don't want to just expose yourself so much with an Abathur in your team, right?
Very true. Very true indeed. Ariel, by the way, taking a lovely ribbon talent as opposed to a sacred sweep.
Yep.
That is the slow off stun, I believe. Nope, it's the damage one. Repeat the
damage one, yep. The slow one has a red icon, I think.
That's the one, yes, heavy burden. Nice, nice. So, yeah, a little bit of a extra damage, extra snipe potential coming in to follow up on a noob. Lots of walls here and a potential for a force wall Tassadar, which is almost certainly what they're going for if this is how they're working it.
And losing the top lane so early on the side of KT is definitely a big blow they had to take. And even the bottom for it is not really looking that healthy anymore. And keep in mind, the bottom lane is going to be the boss lane of SoA. So if they take that first boss, it's going to get so much more value, whereas the top lane on the side of SoA is still looking juicy and healthy. No stacks accumulated so far on that heavy burden.
No, but only 2 stacks on the Perfect Storm as well. Fei is revealed by a mine as it's a noob who is already quite low before the fight even starts. Not ideal. Right now, Tass soaking in mid lane versus Abathur, actually. They did actually reveal each other by a side.
Yeah, and all KT wants to do right now is, of course, to stall a little bit of time. They cannot afford to lose this first tribute very early on, because that would mean that the previous one, the next ones would spawn relatively soon. Maybe not in time for the level 10 to arrive for KT to fight back. But Butcher is going to die. No, he lives. Oh.
Clutch Abathur shield for the save. Beautiful play. Unfortunately, there are still 5 heroes here, and they're going to kill the 4.
Yeah, and that's the boss lane right there. And that's another fort. That's so much XP. Going in for SoA as well. I mean, Abathur can soak up to 2 lanes, but if you're that far behind, I'm not sure if he's going to get enough value.
He's looking a little bit shaky.
A little bit rough,
so
yeah.
far.
And they're going for the boss right off the bat. Look at the minimap.
Who can blame them? Put pressure onto those tier 2s. With Energized Cord, Ariel has the energy. They changed their mind. They changed their mind. Those Abathur minds revealed it, so I don't think
good reaction there by KT to actually have some toxicness, you know, near the boss zone to basically warn the enemy team, hey, we know where you are, we see you. And still, though, going for the mercenary camp is definitely still useful. Providing a little bit of distraction is always nice when it comes to keeping the enemies busy during a tribute phase. Now they're going for the boss, though. Now they do. And that is going to be quite the pesky boss to deal with if you're KT.
Nope, changed their mind again.
Yep. Okay.
They are being incredibly cautious and decisive with this, and that's fair, because guess what? Muradin's here. They're just moving in and clearing up the mines every time they appear. The burden misses. No extra stacks coming in from Muradin here, who is once again just holding the line.
A lot of damage being applied here onto that Illidan with the Holy Shock and the cocktail from Greymane. Dodging the Stormbolt. Fei out of control. He can now deal damage, and as much damage as whatever he wants to in the back line. He dodged a lot of abilities. Takes 1, takes 2. So on a roll.
Here comes a noob, though, dropping a beetle into this fight, so that's going to tank at least a couple shots and give Illidan some freedom. But the keep, once again, re-aggroes onto him. The evasion can only do so much. The noob doesn't have any more abilities for beetles, so they have to back up. They have to retreat, but they did get the tribute.
They did get the tribute. Death timers are very low, though, so Muradin back in the fray. And I was going to say, if they think of maybe taking the top boss, they might pay for it. The Abathur mine gets destroyed, but I think KT, they know what is going on here. Look at the damage. It's not enough.
They know what's going on.
Oh yeah, they need to pull back right now.
The mine dies, they know that there's damage happening. Good attainment strike onto the hacker, but it doesn't drag him out of range. Boss stun catches Ariel. That's bad news. FaZe drops. Boss root though, grabbing Muradin. He's cleansed out. Down goes Ariel.
Attack the boss.
And the greed of SoA is their undoing. Molly though, able to escape. They let the boss go because there's a delicious tribute to take instead.
Exactly, and that is a very important one. If this tribute had gone into the hands of SoA, that would have been the curse for sure. But as it is, KT says, thank you very much, SoA. We exactly needed this one to come back. You gave it to us on a silver tablet, and we're not going to say no to that one. And now it is their boss for the taking. SoA needs to lick their wounds and come back in shame.
SoA have heroics. They could easily just run over here and try and contest this if they actually wanted to.
Yeah.
They're being slow if this was the plan. So it looks like they are just going to end up defending this boss. But that was 100% a viable play they could have attempted.
Yeah. This was a very weird play. Only now do they make their way to the boss. It is too late. Oh, SparkBC has no escape now. He needs to be very careful. But in my opinion, going for the Siege Giants was not the correct call. Here's what they should have done. Like Tetra said, they could have still gone for the interrupt. FaZe actually behind enemy lines on a suicide mission. Thank God he gets out of there alive. But they should have either interrupted the boss because they had more than enough time to actually go there, or they should have done their own boss immediately after so they would get some counter value in the bottom lane. But as it is, they chose for the Siege Giant camp. Not a lot of value, and as such,
timing. It's clearing the boss.
Yeah, that's actually true.
Good value. It allows them to actually come here and leave it unattended. I would have preferred the congestion, but it's definitely the safer move. I am agreeing with it more and more now that I'm seeing the result.
Double Muradin now in the fray. Another Abathur copy on the Battle Dwarf. But they need to make something happen right now. If this tribute falls into the hands of SoA, it's going to be a curse for sure.
Ariel getting pressured by Muraclone. Muraclone has ceased to exist. Bad news. As we do see the real Muradin in full retreat.
Yep. Muradin getting shot. He still has that avatar available. Divine Shield ready as well. They need to stay close here. The boss in the meantime cleared both the Siege Giant camp and the fort. He's still on a rampage, only falling here to the second tower lane. And I can't believe that KT just let this happen.
Yeah, it's kind of just dropping downhill at this point. KT in trouble. Weren't able to contest that boss, tribute for some reason. They are now in full retreat. Good wall, but Butcher just able to jump over it.
Yeah, the Metamorphosis hitting 4 enemy heroes, providing a massive HP pool to FaZe on the Illidan, becoming a secondary warrior here. Basically, look at the HP pool, but they don't really get any kills as a result. But they don't need to. SoA doesn't need any hero kills. All they need to do is just get a little bit of value on the structures here, which is what they're doing right now. Middle fort is falling as well. That means no more tier 1 defensive structures on the side of KT. That gives so much map control over to SoA. They can now move around the map. They will always have vision. There's a toxic nest. Once again, KT knows about this.
Yeah, and KT moving in to try and contest. They don't have to Haka. The Haka needs to burrow like a minute ago at this point as Genshao taking some pressure. See-ing on that Abaclo, doing a good job. Here's Dahaka, just in time to be late, but the Divine Shield, it's a good turnaround. Aegis, but the nice 4-man raid of Vengeance is good. And Genshao now in full retreat. Illidan is still alive, and that's the important thing here. He's sustained all the way through this, and he actually might be able to pick up a kill here. T-Die is alone, and will just drop.
Uther keeping him alive a little bit more in his dying breath, but it was not enough. His alliance buddy Greyman is down, and KT, they win for the right move, but at some point they took so much damage from all those AoE abilities. Most importantly, the Rain of Vengeance, as Tetra pointed out. The Tassador Storms, of course, with the Sign Fusion talent at level 1. They are so devastating, and it's only going to get worse at level 16 when they get double storms. But also, that Crystal Aegis, normally not used as a damage tool, but when everybody stands inside of it, always going to be like, yep, I'll take the damage, and most importantly, I'll take all that energy.
Energy is pretty dope when you're able to get that much of it. Converging Force coming in for Ariel, gonna help out try and get Illidan all of those stacks on Metamorphosis, and of course group people up so that they are.
Yeah, that's actually a cool
trouble with the ball. Yeah,
I mean, the Blinding Flash would have been still really, really good talent, don't get me wrong, because there are so many melee heroes, and especially against the Greyman, you want to blind him. But the Converging Force, as you said, so much value with the Illidan potentially, so much value with all that AoE.
Yeah, with a noob, with Illidan, with basically everything.
Rain
as
of
long as they are
Vengeance.
grouped to getting value. Yeah, exactly. Everything is going to be good here. As the boss is pushing in, SoA continuing to put pressure on. In the meantime, Dahaka is pressuring top lane, trying to get something countering going. As long as no one on KT dies, this isn't terrible. That's a clone. That's acceptable.
Yeah, that's acceptable for now. They're going to lose this keep. Nothing to be done about it.
T-Die going deep. There's a Divine Shield. That's good. But the micro from Molly, keeping him alive. Down goes the Divine Shield. And Greymane being forced to back up. Down goes Gensho. He's trying to keep his team healed. Dahaka has returned for the defense here. Once again, if anyone else dies, this is probably over as KT continue to get healed up by the Uther Ghost, which has finally expired as the core begins to get pressured. It's tanks and some... Well, they're going to get it.
Yeah, I think they can do it. Illidan is still in his metamorphosis, being extremely hard to take down. He can dance around the core. Nobody's going to be able to keep him in check. Abathur is trying to support the core to the best of his abilities, but there is so much protection, so much healing, and it looks like, ladies and gentlemen, SoA is going to take this serious. They lose one, but they don't care. Illidan at the core, he's the most important target, and it's going to be GG, SoA 2-0, baby. Tetra and I are going to drop some bids on them.
Well done to SoA.
Nice.
Kendrick, I want you to do me a favor. I want you to put yourself, just forget everything that has happened since the end of Season 1 of HGC China.
Yep.
I want you to put yourself in that mindset. Just imagine you are back then at the end of Season 1 of HGC China. All good?
Yeah, okay. So we just came back, ladies and gentlemen. SoA lost another game. Is this team going to be able to do anything?
I am from the future.
Yes?
I have come to tell you.
Yeah.
That SoA
I'm just pretending I'm casting right now, like SoA lost another game. Go for it.
I've come from the future to tell you that SoA are in the lead of HGC China in 2017.
Get out of here, you crazy men. We're going to send him to the asylum right now, and we're going to continue this cast with a different caster. Tetra is no more. I want Grubby at my side. Thank you, Blizzard.
So yes, well done. SoA able to take down KT, and as such, for the time being at least, they take the lead of HGC China.
Well,
wow.
I mean, they have earned themselves a little bit of HGC money right there, because Tetra and I, we're going to splurge on that juicy SoA swag. We're going to buy the full package, you know. We're going to represent SoA in-game as well as on Twitch chat, because they are now first place. I mean, they can still, you know, share this first place with CE or SPT if they end up winning 2-0, or maybe even BTG in the 1. You never know what those new teams can bring to the table. But for now, we have our first place. SoA going for BlizzCon. Tetra, let's imagine you being in the first season, and I'm from the future, and I'm going to tell you SoA's going to make it to BlizzCon.
Get out of here, Kendrick. What are you doing? Like, what is in your brain?
It is crazy. So cool to see, though. So cool to see the success story of a team that was doubted by everyone in the league. The analysts were never rooting for them. They never gave them anything. It turned a little bit better last season when they got some reinforcements. Tank Ovo will be missed, as well as Shy. But hey, Molly looking strong. And who is the other person I unfortunately forgot about? It was
TY.
TY. Oh man, this team has a bright future ahead of them if they can maintain this shape and form.
Yes, they do, and I'm currently loading up for this hero's Twitch, and it's 3,000 to get everything, isn't it?
$3,000, you heard it. No, we're just kidding.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 3,000 bits for everything, or is it 1,500? I can't remember.
I think it was 1,500. So
1,500?
Yeah, 1,500 bits to basically get the banner, the Twitch icon, and the spray.
Which is everything.
Yeah, everything you need.
So 1,000, 100, 100, 100, 100, 100. And boom. Using 1,500 bits to cheer. And here's the Storm chat. Boom. SoA.
Yep.
We now own I now own their stuff.
You own all of them. And I'm going to be joining you in the commercial break, which is going to be happening very, very soon. We're just going to wait for the MVP to be crowned. If I had to choose one, it would probably be Fei on that Illidan. Looked very, very powerful. Of course, the enemies made it somewhat easy on him. Going for a couple mistakes here. Dahaka arriving a little bit too late to the party sometimes. I mean, SoA basically gave them boss present too. It's not like SoA played flawlessly by any means.
No, very true. There was some potential misplays there that worked in both teams' favor, but in the end, it was SoA who were able to come out on top, and very well done to them.
Yeah, as a rule of thumb, when you make mistakes in Heroes of a Storm, the later into the game they happen, the more crucial or the more detrimental it's going to be for your own sake.
God, Kendrick, I need another team to put bits towards.
Well,